Redditors, what is your never again brand? Meow Mix. Stupid stuff had my cat throwing up red dye everywhere. I called customer support because I was concerned for my cat, and the lady hung up on me. Called again. Got a manager. Food was refunded, and vet bills paid by them. Fuck Meow Mix. Worst cat food anyone can buy. It's like feeding your cat McDonald's every day. First time with a new vet. Asked me what I was feeding my cat. I said arms, and asked if that was what he recommended. He said that was more than fine, and never had a problem, but he just asks to make sure it wasn't Meow Mix. He pretty much said what you did. Worst cat food on the market, and he tells all owners to avoid it like the plague. Oh no, I feed my cats Meow Mix. I adore my cats. Okay, gotta change cat food. I'm on it. Bank of America. Almost lost out on buying my home due to the incompetence of their mortgage department. Their mortgage department also had a major hand in collapsing the world economy in 2008. Samsung for putting ads in the menu of my TV that I paid for. If you go into settings and unagree, is that a word? To the right privacy things the ads stop. They make it hard/unintuitive to opt out, but you can do it. I did this in the US. Worked perfectly. Edit to at. You can also turn off tracking and eliminate their tracking revenue. Look up your manufacturer/model. You can also turn off tracking and eliminate their tracking revenue. You can't, but you can pretend that the switch actually works. I signed up for a 5k race one time going through this company that manages foot races. I put my info in, put my credit card info in, and got my race bib in the mail a few days later. Didn't think anything about it. About a year later, I was looking through my bank account and found a $144 charge to re-up my subscription to the booking company. I had not asked for that at all. I called the company and was on hold for 45 minutes. They finally put me through. I told them what had happened and how I hadn't wanted their service. All I really wanted was to make sure that I wasn't going to be charged again. The guy was incredibly rude. He kept interrupting me. Told me that I wouldn't have been charged if I hadn't opted in for it on the website, which was a tiny check mark and a series of other check marks. Then hung up on me. I've done a number of races since then, but Active Advantage and I will never meet again. Same here. I wrote them via email. Once they refused, I forwarded their reply to my credit card company. Got my money back. Ashley Home Furniture. The furniture is cheap quality and cost way more money than it should. The customer service is complete shit too. One of my mom's friends sat in a chair outside the store to tell people not to be stuffed from there. The company is that bad. Spirit Airlines. They really get you on those extras, like water and no magazines. Also, I was traveling with my family back home from a noise trip to Costa Rica. It was delayed a heck of a lot, and then they decided to board a half hour before. That 9:30 delay. Never heard a word from that person at the desk. Apparently 30 plus other people, especially those up front, never heard her. There was a family that had a kid's meds on board. My parents had to pay for a taxi and Uber and hotel in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, no. When I'm old enough. No. Skullcandy headphones. Each pair fell apart faster than the last. I only go with Sony or better now. I never had any Skullcandy headphones that lasted longer than 6 months. So yeah, never again. Not mine, but my wife has boycotted Victoria's Secret. Their quality has significantly dropped over the past several years and they were overpriced to begin with. So my wife has some items from them that she wears pretty regularly. Still has some she bought 10 years ago and they are still in perfect condition. Any that she's bought in the past few years are falling apart. It's astoundingly bad. Hearts brand anything for pets. Flea medicine almost killed my cat and made him sick for 8+ months straight. Found out there's an entire victims organization because Hearts brand stuff has killed so many people's pets. Especially dogs. Don't do it. Just buy the more expensive stuff and do your research first. Unfortunately, you also have to research the shit out of dog food. There were a few years that supposedly quality dog food, egg arms, would be recalled due to killing/making dogs sick. A lot of brands have started coming out of China and basically have antifreeze in them, especially gravy formulas. Samsung appliances. We had a dryer, oven, and dishwasher all die within a week of each other. The oven and dishwasher were less than 2 years old. The dryer was 5 years old. Comcast. Oh, if only I had another choice. Seriously. Verizon reaches the town next door. But not mine. My other options are HughesNet and Visat. Both more expensive for less performance. My only option is Finity. And I'm an MA. Fabletics. They put a super sneaky agreement when checking out which automatically enrolls you to their VIP program, where you pay $60 a month for nothing as far as I see it. I didn't realize that I had set up this agreement until a few months later, at which point I had paid Fabletics about $300 which I couldn't get back. Here's a tip for shopping at Fabletics. The 2/24 deal is really good and their quality is amazing for that price. But the $50 a month sucks. What I do is every year or so, when I want some new leggings, I just make a new account, get the 2/24 and whatever else, and then just delete the account. I never get charged the $50 and I don't have to worry about skipping every month. The only thing is you need a separate card for every time you do that. There's a free app called Privacy for iPhone. It makes dummy credit cards connected to your real one, so you don't even need a new one every time. Forever 21. Any fast fashion stores? Really? H&M is just as poor quality. Spend the extra money, and you'll have clothes that last years and years. After buying from there once I renamed it Hit and Miss. Poor quality, atrocious sizing. I call it hit and miss because the styles they carry are either perfect or look like they were designed by squirrels on LSD. Postmates. They refused to give me my order because I didn't have ID. Because the order contained alcohol. Fair enough, right? Except the alcohol was cocktail sauce. As in ketchup with horseradish in it. As in not fucking alcohol. Frontier Airlines. I don't care what the name of the cute animal on the side of the plane is. I'm not gonna overpay to sit on your bent metal cafeteria tray for 5 hours next to a meth head while getting cussed out by your flight attendant. Thank you so much, kind strangers, for my most upvoted post and the award. Also, who would have known that so many people shared my opinion? Close bracket. Kohl's. I can't stand stores that always seem to have like a 40% off sale where their merchandise still seems overpriced. I bought a pair of jeans there that literally disintegrated in the washing machine. Penny tried to do away with the 40% discount strategy and just do everyday low prices. They were bankrupt less than 5 years later. Companies do this because consumers stop coming if they don't. Epson printers. Had one. It was terrible, jammed all the time. Really shitty fidelity. Inkjets clogged. Just horrible. My Epson inkjet had only a 50% chance of printing on the first try. 50% of the time I was reseating ink cartridges, running out to get yellow ink, to print a black and white document, going into printer settings to troubleshoot, restarting the print queue, reseating cables, restarting the computer. Duck that thing. Lysergit. People don't look back. They just print. Nestle. When I looked up a list of brands that Nestle owns, I half jumped out of my chair. Seagate. Their hard drives have let me down too many times. Same. I stick to WD or Samsung now. Only had one WD die. It was at least 7 years old, and it was a slow death, and in RAID 1, so I didn't lose any data. I won't use anything related to Facebook. I can't believe people actually buy that smart home shit from Facebook. You gotta be real naive to think your privacy is safe with them. Uber Eats absolutely sucks. Their customer support is a joke. You can't talk to anyone on the phone. Fine. I get it. It's a pandemic. But the online help you get goes like this. You message them on the app, asking for help. Someone responds to you wanting more info. You respond to them with more info. Someone else responds, but they somehow don't know what you said in your response. only what you said first, and asks for more info. You respond to them again. A third person responds. Same deal as second one. By this point you're like, what the duck? Question mark? Around person 6 or 7. You threaten to call the bank and dispute the order. Then someone magically understands the issue and resolves it. But even then, not really. I was once told that I would be refunded for a sloppy delivery. They never did. When I reached out to them, they told me to talk to my bank. My bank refunded me. Next time I went to use Uber Eats, it won't let me order unless I paid for the amount that I was refunded. That's when I switched over to Grubhub and got Grubhub Plus. It's been smooth sailing ever since. Free delivery, great perks and discounts, customer service where you can actually talk on the phone to a human being. If there's a dispute, it's immediately fixed. Totally agree. Drove for Uber Eats once, and only once. Picked up food. Wouldn't allow me to say I had picked it up. Delivered it so it wouldn't be cold. Was on the phone with support for 2 hours. Worked for 3 hours, and made $4. Holiday Inn. I stayed at one, and they claimed they didn't have my reservation, even though I had it printed out and let them read it. Then, for some reason, I booked a room at the same hotel 2 years later, and the exact same thing happened. The first time, I had to find a room at another hotel, and they did not help me at all. The second time, they happened to have a room open, and when I opened the door, the bed had no sheets on it. I asked for sheets, and they were delivered to my room in a garbage bag. So Holiday Inn has been the only company on my hard boycott list for about 2 decades now. Garnier face/skin products. Apparently I'm really allergic to something that only they specifically seem to use in their products. I can use anything from the drugstore except Garnier. Instant chemical burns. It doesn't seem to matter what product it is either. It all melts my skin in a very ugly way. Nestle also owns 30% of their parent company. Even more reasons to hate them. Anything that has electricity or a motor running it from Harbor Freight. Which, I mean, it's pretty suspicious with their dirt cheap prices and terrible reviews. Electronic Arts. Stopped giving them any of my money maybe 10 years ago and have not felt like I was missing out at all. See, half of me wants to do that, and the other half is addicted to The Sims. You're in your home, on the internet. If you feel like it, you can play The Sims without paying them. The Sims is one of the few games I have absolutely zero shame about pirating. Sims 3 is better anyway. Amazon. I worked at an Amazon fulfillment center and haven't made a purchase on their site since I quit. I do miss Prime and their speedy shipping, but now I rather wait an extra 2 days. Maruti Suzuki. They make tin can cars and don't care about safety. Their car score 0 literally on safety. The Indian market is literally their dumping ground. AT&T. I've probably said this before, but screw them. I cancelled my husband and his plans to switch to a cheaper provider. They somehow screw up my cancellation and don't tell me. 3 months later I get a bill for $400 ish. They had been charging me for the months after I cancelled. When I said I refused to pay for services I didn't use, they said they would have to send to collections. Fine. I told the collections company the same thing. I sent emails and receipts to prove what happened. Thankfully the collections company understood and are dealing with AT&T directly. But screw AT&T for refusing to take responsibility on their screw up. Amazon Basics. My Amazon microwave broke after 2 months. It started smoking, and if I didn't unplug it in time, I'm sure it would have caught fire. Amazon refused to do anything about it and still sells those microwaves. Grams. Bought a Chevy Cruze that needed a new engine and a new transmission before 70k miles. I had a similar experience with an Unison. Never again. Beats headphones. Literally every time I buy some, after 2 months one side stops working. Nestle and Chiquita/United Fruit Corp. Listen to the podcast Swindled. It will infuriate you. Chiquita Fruit is the latest incarnation of a pretty evil colonial slave-owning corporation that helped to colonize South America and was the thinly veiled inspiration in 100 Years of Solitude for the evil banana company that massacred hundreds of villagers when they wanted fair wages. 'Cause they did that in real life with their own private army. United Airlines was flying home from Chicago. Flight got cancelled on short notice, and they made us pay for a ticket the next day without refunding the money for the original. No hotel money either. I called customer service and the woman yelled at me, "Fuck United." Hobby Lobby. The owners refused to cover birth control as part of their employees' health insurance, which they were legally required to do. They also illegally bought millions of dollars worth of pillaged and smuggled religious artifacts, likely funding ISIS in the process. They wrote a letter to the White House asking to be exempt from LGBTQ anti-discriminatory laws. Scumbag billionaires. They tried to get a religious exemption to paying for birth control, like a corporation goes to church or something. Tim Hortons homebrew coffee. It's shit. Tim's in Genera cut out paid breaks for their employees, who aren't paid shit to begin with. Meanwhile, they'll gladly pay Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby and Nathan McKinnon to do a cheesy commercial once a year, not to mention the sour coffee and freezer flavored baked goods. Fuck Tim's. KFC. Patton Oswalt does a great bit on KFC's famous bowls, and I agree with him. When I first saw them advertised on TV, I thought it was bizarre that they just took a bunch of various foods they make and put it all dumped together in a ducking bowl. WTF. KFC slop bucket. Buffalo Wild Wings. The atmosphere was weird. It was really loud and the lights were really bright. But maybe I'm just not used to that. Got a headache from it. We waited at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half for food. And our server was a little rude. And the food wasn't great. In the UK, Currys electrical stores. They are happy to take your money, but woe betide you if there's anything that goes wrong. If you get faulty goods delivered, i.e. dead on arrival, takes months to sort out. Forget any kind of warranty, they will try to bounce you to the manufacturer, even if they sold it to you a week before. I've overheard sales assistants make up all sorts of rubbish trying to sell laptops to people that don't need the upgrades they are hard selling. Forget any level of after sale customer service. These guys are literally the fetid least infected crotch of the retail world. Hey PSSST. Please subscribe and like.